In this video, I'm going to share with you how to apply mapping in TwinMotion. In particular, how to apply different materials to parts of a model. In this case, we are going to use the 9-grid model as an example. It is quite easy to apply materials in TwinMotion. We can just click on the library triangle button here, this library button, and then look for materials, and I'm going to use just wood, for example, and I'm going to use red cedar. So we can just simply click and drag to the model itself like this, and you will notice that the entire model will now be applied with this particular red cedar material. Okay, that's the straightforward part. But what happens if we need parts of this model to be of a different material? For example, like this particular frame down here to be of a different material, okay, or even parts of this just to be of a different material. So if you notice, we can't quite change the material or designate it to certain parts here just like that. Alright, when we click on the different material and drag and apply it onto the model, the entire model is now going to be of that particular material. So we need to go back to 3D Studio Max to do something about it. So let's just toggle back to 3D Studio Max again, and we're going to select the model, and under the modifier tab here we are going to click edit mesh on top. We are going to add this edit mesh modifier, and we are going to go into the polygon sub-selection mode here and select the faces that we want to apply to a different material. Okay, so as a whole we can quite simply apply. Okay, I'm going to select the whole model just to make things easier a little bit, and click on M key to apply a material. So for the sake of making things easier to see, I'm just going to change this one to, say, yellow color, and apply onto the entire model itself. And I'm going to change this one to blue color. For the parts that we want it to be of a different material. So I'm just going to go into the polygon sub-selection mode here to select a couple of faces. In this case, I'm going to select these few here, okay, and these few here by holding on to the control key and then dragging. So these are the parts in which I want them to be of a different material, like this. Okay, these three parts here. Alright, and once I'm done, I'm going to click on the blue colored material, and I'm going to click on this assign material to selection button here and click on them. Okay, now you will be able to see, I'm going to close the material editor now. Now you should be able to see the entire 9-grid model is mostly yellow, except for these three parts down here. They are going to be in blue. And once I'm done with this, I'll go back to the top level of the edit mesh, and I'm going to click on File, Export, and Export again. And I'm going to override this 9-grid site model, okay, and click on Save, and I will override it and click OK. Now we can go back to TwinMotion again and click on Import and mouse over this 9-grid site export model again and click on this re-import item key here, this button down here, and click on it, And you will now notice the existing material assignment is no longer available. It now becomes mostly yellow and the different parts here in blue. Alright. And now I'm going to go back to materials again and click on wood, red cedar, and apply it onto most of the parts here. You now notice that everything will be in the red cedar material except for these blue parts here that we have earlier selected out. Okay, and now I'm going to go to concrete and apply this exposed aggregate concrete 01 to these areas here. By now you would have understood, when we have designated different materials in different phases in 3D Studio Max before we export over to TwinMotion, and when it gets into TwinMotion, even though this is one completely linked 3D model, different materials can be assigned to different phases of the model as long as we designate it properly inside 3D Studio Max. We will be able to have great control over the type of materials that we can apply on to different parts of the 3D model.